Hello, everybody. Today, I am so happy that you're here. Today is part two of a four-part series that we are doing with Shirlyn Wright. Um, Yesterday was part one, and in case you've missed it, you can always go back and watch it. Shirlyn has been introduced in depth. And apart from many things that she does, she is an animal communicator and a connector. And yesterday was really beautiful because we discussed about the communication process, how she communicates and how we can communicate, and the fact that she gives workshops and private lessons and teach us how we can be better mummies or daddies to our pets. And that is that's a lot. Now, today, we are discussing a topic that for me, this means also, and I'm sure for a lot of you, this big question, and there are many other questions underneath it, but the topic is why are animals in our lives? Why? And there are so many things that we are going to discuss today. We're going to actually split this subject because we cannot in two sessions because we cannot all cover this in one. And Shirlyn, again, she's so generous and so loving with her time to guide us and to help us with these questions. And she's doing that, to benefit this planet, to benefit all living beings on this planet, because we're not only talking, when we discuss it, we say animals, but we all know that it's connection, communication, and it's not only with animals, it's with all living beings, it's with plants, marine life, all of it. But just to bring it into context and bring it into nurture your pet, we won't discuss the plants, and also we'll bring it back to our pets. How can we be better mummies and daddies to our pets? And yesterday's session was absolutely beautiful. I advise all of you who have missed it to go back and watch that, because that is the basic, what she's talking about, that yes, we can communicate, and she explains the steps that we can. And here today is the big question: why are animals in our lives? So, Shirlyn, thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here. And like I said to you when I was chatting with you, I really, I say to the universe right now to, make this a wonderful session and 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 to guide both of us and
yes,
guide both of us in what we're saying and what we're doing today, because today is a topic where spirituality will be touched upon, and I am a spiritual person, but it's not only about that. It's we're not talking about religions and spiritualities. We're talking about the pets, and I think we can all agree on something, that we have a soul, and that's where we're getting at, and not a belief system, but just the soul connection. Now we're more into the, versus communication, into the soul connection. Shirlyn, thank you for being here. And we're going to start off so that, we don't waste too much time with the first question. Shirlyn, how do animals see their role in our life? How do animals see that?
yes. Well, I want to thank you again for having me. It's my pleasure, because just like you, I want to inspire people to know that all living things we're all connected, right? We're all here to support each other and to learn, grow, and expand. So the question, why are animals in our lives? Well, animals are here to fulfill three things, okay? One, they're here to support us, right? To guide us, because they don't have a lot of baggage, right? That we, humans have, right? We have like we deal with, a career, right? And having to make money. And then there's these different relationship challenges that we have. So we have a lot more to work with and deal with than animals do. So they're here to guide us, okay? They're also here to help us understand unconditional love,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because again, they don't have, I mean, they don't have as much work to do as we do. So they're here to love. They understand what love is. They understand how to express it. So they are here to help us like tap into that more so that not only do we express it with them, but we feel brave enough to express it more with other humans.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then the other reason why they're here is to heal us, right? Because they just through love, because they know and they understand love, they can send that love out to us. So, like we were talking about how sometimes animals know when their human is not feeling well, and what they do, like what my sister's dog would do, Zoe, is if she knew one of the family members wasn't feeling well emotionally or physically, she would just walk over and she would just lay on their lap. And she did this consistently throughout her whole life when someone wasn't feeling well.
Right.
And yeah, just to because she laid there and this was her way of healing, her
Right.
way of supporting the human.
Right, right. Okay, I have a question for that. I do have to excuse myself for a second. I have two Yorkies that are creating havoc in the kitchen because their three older brothers have gone out for a walk and they want to see what's happening with you because they're hearing you. So just a second. I
Okay.
This will be edited out. So just one second.
Okay.
They're scratching the door. So, um, Shirlyn, thank you for these, three basic reasons as to, well, big reasons. How do animals, not so basic, how do animals see their role? So I want to touch upon specifically, of course, the other two when you say guidance. Okay.
Yes.
Um, you said guidance. You said uh, teach us unconditional love. Yes.
Yes,
They don't have
yes,
baggage, unconditional love, guidance. And the third one, to heal us. Now,
yes.
when you say guidance, can you give me an example of what do you mean by guidance?
Well, it's also kind of close to teaching us about unconditional love. So, like for if there's something going on, like we're in danger or something like that, the animal will go into action and
Okay,
they'll guide us is to like, don't go down this road, or, this person, they're not, I don't feel comfortable with this person, so watch out. So they're kind of like guiding us in a way to protect ourselves,
okay,
or maybe even to trust other people. Like if they go to a stranger and that person is and they're really like excited about that stranger, they're letting us know, oh, this person you can trust, they have good energy.
right. Got that. Now I understand what you're saying, and I do believe that. You know, I would tell people if you're dating someone and you have a dog, let the dog check him out or her out.
Yes.
I say that, and I could be wrong. I just
Well, no, you're
you know
not
I
wrong.
mean I could be wrong, but it helps. Um,
Yes.
the second subject, that unconditional love, that I want to get in a little deeper with you in the there's going to be a few questions that I have for you, and we'll get a bit more deeper into that. The third one is the healing. So nurture your pet has gone into a drive where we are trying to promote that part of pets having a purpose. So
Yes.
we feel and we only mentioned four things, and there's a poster that we publish. I mean, we've been sending out is we have disabilities, physical disabilities, where we can't walk or we can't pull things. Okay, we have unfortunately a lot of us have mental challenges, illnesses, things like depression. One other huge thing is anxiety. A lot of us have anxiety, and a lot of us are lonely. So we
Yes.
have all that. And how do we try and fix it in today's environment, in today's world? We don't have the time to really fix it in a gentle way. So we want a quick fix. So what do? We medicate. We
Yes.
self-medicate. And does that help the problem? No, it perpetuates. The problem becomes worse. We still have massive depression, anxiety, illness, and okay, the physical disability is that yes, you might need things for that. That I understand, but then there's another segment, not only loneliness with the younger people, teenagers, because of bullying or whatever, not fitting in, that sense of not belonging, but we also have it with young adults who don't have partners and they feel lonely. They come home to an empty home and and then we have, which is for me very important, the elderly. They're at home. Their kids are out working, or yes, and so for them, they want to give up on life. They're too lonely. They get depressed. So that's all that. Then on the other hand, we have another big problem going on. And that's another thing where I interview people with shelters. We have a huge problem that actually, Shirlyn, in reality, we've created that because the origins of a dog is the wolf. And right. We have been doing all this breeding and into pet, domesticate them and make them into pets and cute ones and all that. So we've been breeding them, and then of course they multiply and they multiply and they multiply, and then we don't want so many anymore, and they are homeless. They're homeless. Right. A lot of them are homeless. A lot of them, when they get sick, they're not looked after anymore. When they get old, it's countless reasons. Countless reasons. So they go into shelters or they live out on the streets, and they are lonely. They have anxiety. They have disabilities also, disabilities.
Yes.
And so here we have the humans having that. Here we have the animal. Well, when I say animals, I'm predominantly, because you cannot domesticate, babies. Right. So we're talking about pets. So cats and dogs. But the beauty, there's one thing that the animals, well, the pets have that we don't have. They have the power to heal. Why? Because like you said, unconditional love. Yes. And that is what we really need. All we need really is love. That is the biggest disease that Mother Teresa said we have on this planet. So when you say to all of us, the role in the life of the animal is to heal, I'm so with you, Shirlyn, because that is what I feel. And they heal us. When you see people in jail playing with dogs, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Whatever crimes they've committed, this is what I've heard from another wonderful lady that I've interviewed. It is mind-boggling, their ability to smile and their ability to love again. And again, the elderly, their loneliness is gone. Well, to a huge extent. Again, mental illness, and the people that are disabled, dogs are being trained. I'm trying to learn that right now. Dogs are being trained to be of use there, for the disabled, helping with the wheelchair, helping with pulling drawers open, helping with a lot of things. I mean, we're even talking about reminding them for their Medicaid. Oh, there's countless things that these pets can do. So this is what I feel when I interview shelters, when I interview training centers. There are so many stories of the healing process. And this is where I say at the end of the day, suffering to the extent that we do can be minimized if we looked at each other a bit more and say, hey, I need you. Oh, I need you too. Bam.
Exactly. And I think that you're hitting on such an important subject, which is, we are all here to learn that, not looking at it from a religious standpoint, but from a spiritual standpoint, we're all these spiritual beings full of light and love. And we've forgotten that, which is why I think animals are here, because again, they don't have as many burdens as we do. So they remember like, oh yeah, we're from spirit, right? And we're here to have these different experiences. Because one of the things that with my work I take a look at is like we have past lives. I mean, this is something that I guess you could say I believe, right?
Yes.
We have past
Yes.
lives. We don't just live one life. We come down in many different scenarios.
Yes.
Well, you know what? Animals do as well,
Yeah.
because they're understanding what their role is and perfecting themselves. So they're here also to understand that they're these light forces, right? Who like to remind us like, hey, there's love in this world. And I'm here to support that. So come on, get it, people, get it, so that we can heal the planet. Because when we exhibit more love, right, not only are we healing ourselves, but we're healing each other, we're healing the planet, which goes back to healing the animals. It's like this loving, energy that keeps growing and expanding and interconnecting.
Again, this is why I told you at the beginning of this interview, this is such a big, it's a loaded but amazing, beautiful topic. And I want to tell everyone that's listening today, look, from what I gather, Shirlyn is spiritual, definitely. I'm spiritual. And I continue practicing meditation since I was young, meditation and yoga. Now, does that mean those that don't do that are wrong? No, absolutely no. We're all human beings. We all have our own beliefs. We all have our own way of thinking. And this episode is not about what you believe in, and we're not trying to sway anyone. We love all religions. We respect and adore all religions. All we want to talk about is basically, and what we're trying to say is the use and the purpose of our pets that we adore. Now, the next question is actually, are they the same as humans, or are they more advanced than humans? And this is a loaded question because now what we're dealing with, I'm supposing, Shirlyn, is the consciousness. And when you spoke about that, what your last few sentences, sorry I interrupted you, when you said, hey, we're healing each other. I am of a belief, I come from a belief system where I believe that, there is consciousness, there is life in all of us. And the healing and how we communicate and how kind and good we are to each other, it raises the whole collective consciousness of this planet. So it's not only one person gets healed, but that person who's healing, his or her actions, again, has a ripple effect on the other people that are around him and her. So this is what this is all about, an awakening. Yes. And as you can see, I'm a fan of Eckhart Tolle. I'm reading him, I'm a fan of his. But so now I'm gonna beg you to please answer this question. I can't wait to hear yes, are humans are they more advanced than us humans? What do you think? What is
Well, let's take a look at humans first, right? Because humans, we have the ability to create, right? Because we think, right? And then we use logic, we have desire, we have this passion, and we're able to create technology. We're able to create art. We're able to create things that will help make our lives easier, right? So in this case, humans we're at a different dimension. This is how I would look at it, because we're able to create and manifest. Whereas with animals, they're in a different category. They're not able to create and make technology, etc. They have a simpler role. And their role really is to support us and to remind us that love is the strongest energy in the universe, to bring us back to that. Because you can have someone, like you said, I know someone who works with animals in jails, and they're able to, like, okay, there's this violence they've had in their life, and they understand that they've committed this crime, but they don't know how to heal that part, right? They're still kind of thinking it through and trying to understand it. Whereas when you bring an animal in, all of that goes away and they become present to this loving energy, this loving life force that is saying, hey, here I am, and I accept you for who you are.
Yes.
You're this human, and love me, take care of me. And then that breaks down all the barriers, right, that the human has.
Yes.
So that's why I said that the role of the animal is really important, right? They're here to help us, bring us back to what love is. Our job is to recognize that love, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we're creating and we're going to space and we're doing all these other things,
Mm-hmm.
but at the end of the day, love is the most healing energy in the universe. So the animal brings us back to that so that we get more centered and balanced. Our
Mm-hmm.
consciousness keeps raising.
Mm-hmm.
It keeps getting higher and higher because
Mm-hmm.
we go back to the, that's what the role of the animal is. So
Right.
then we learn to nurture them, and then they nurture us. Again, it's this, interconnected like relationship to always bring us back to source, and source is love.
Right. So would you say then that they are the same as humans, but in different ways, or you feel they're a bit more advanced?
Well, I actually think this is an interesting question, because I think that they're more advanced in terms of understanding love and having more acceptance. They can get to that a lot easier. However, I think that humans are, our consciousness is higher, because if we look at the source of the universe, right? The source is a creator. We are also creators. So I would say that we're in two different spectrums, right? Whereas the animal easily understands love, but they're not creating like we do. We're having a challenge understanding love, but yet we create. And so our job is to get to that highest level of consciousness and understand that we're creators and we create through love. So I think, to answer this question, we are higher in consciousness. It's just that we've forgotten. They have more understanding. So that's why they're here to support us and to nurture us.
They are, yes, and like you said, so I'm understanding what you're saying, and what you're basically saying, they are helping us raise our consciousness because they're guiding us and helping us in with that love that we somehow forget because we're so lost in not only creativity, but with that also comes stress and other things that
Yes.
daily life, and they're guiding us back again into no, no, don't forget what is your innate nature. You are all love and light. Don't forget that. Right? See, I
Right.
got that from you.
Yes.
I got
Yes.
that from you. Don't forget what we all are. And they keep reminding us. So
Yeah.
so here's a question. First of all, do they choose their humans? And why do they choose their humans? Do they? Do they choose their humans?
Yes. Actually, they do, because we think that we choose our animals, and actually we don't choose them, because again, they feel like all animals who are around humans, they feel as if they're here on a mission. This is their job, right? Their job is to, okay, let me find my human and let me guide them and let me show them love. So what they do is they send out different vibrations, so that and they do different things to get our attention. So
Mm-hmm.
a lot of like animal people who have animals, what they always tell me, they tell me a story about how they chose their animal. Like I had one person tell me she saw all of these pugs But this one pug just kept walking up to her and just sat next to her. Wherever she walked, that pug was walking alongside with her. And then she just had to pay attention. She picked it up and she said, even though, he was kind of funny looking, but there was still something about him. He wouldn't let me leave. So
Yes.
I was like, okay, I feel the same energy. I'm gonna take him with me.
Yes.
There's always stories like this.
Yes. Mine, without a doubt, I know all my five chose me. I did tell you yesterday, right, about the two that I adopted and how they waited for me 5 months, Sherlyn. Um, every time an adoption fell through, I was away, and when I came back, I adopted them and found out that they had passed away on the exact same day that my Gina passed away 6 months prior, 5 months prior, 6 months. And I said, how is this possible? And 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 I realized it's not a coincidence. They definitely waited for me.
Yeah.
And by the way, as we're having this, I want you to know based on yesterday's talk with you, I started paying more attention in communicating with my pets.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized that based on what you were guiding us with in yesterday's session, I
Mm-hmm.
started talking a bit more to them than normal. And they come on their own and they're saying things to me. Oliver, all of a sudden, came up to me, and I know he was trying to say something now. Prior to that, I would be like, oh, yes, you need love. Come, let me hug you. Let me kiss you. And let me love you. And he would come, but today I actually tried to do what you were saying, like just clear your mind a little bit and just look at him. Just look into his eyes, which I did, and try
Mm-hmm.
and feel. Of course, like to explain, it doesn't happen overnight. It happens with practice, but I'm trying. But I am going to take your course because then I know that the steps that I'm taking wrong and what I should be doing. But it's already set the ball in motion. And I told my two, yes, yes, and I told my two youngest ones, Bodhi Moksha, thank you, thank you for choosing me. I know
Yeah.
you waited, and I have said that to them, but I never thought that they could understand. But thanks to you, what you said yesterday, they do. So now I'm saying it in a different way,
Yeah.
feeling that they understand me. And I have thanked them profusely today for waiting for me, for
Oh,
that I could bring them to my home so they could nourish me, you know,
yeah.
through some, ups and downs. And now with also with my little bump in the road, I mean, I feel the healing is tremendous, tremendous
Yes.
through them. And so you say that they do choose us. Okay,
They
now
do
here's the
choose it.
question.
And I was just going to say quickly, you see like sometimes online they have pictures of the human and the animal and they look just alike. I mean,
Yeah,
this is another thing. It's like this vibration.
yes,
Um, because animals, like I said yesterday, animals are emotional. They
yes.
can feel and sense emotion. So they can sense like whatever the human is feeling, or
Mm-hmm.
if there's a lack of something, they're like, oh, I can do that. Let me choose. Let me choose. I
Yes,
have this assignment. I can choose that person.
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And so now, why do they choose it, Sherman? Why?
Well, there's a lot of different reasons. Like I said, they're all here on a mission, right? And they want to fulfill what they're meant to do because they know that they're such a integral part of how we evolve and how the whole planet evolves. So,
Mm-hmm.
um, so when when they kind of meet the human and they feel their energy, they're just like, oh, okay, I can. This human needs more fun in their lives. So, I'm a fun person. I like to jump up and around and I have all of this energy. So this is what I can provide for them. So they do evaluate, just based on the energy and that sensing of, who you are, who the person is. And again, what they're lacking. And they also see if there's like this it's like a relationship, right? When you meet
Mm-hmm.
someone, it's like a friend,
Mm-hmm.
right? Oh yeah, we kind of vibe. On
Mm-hmm.
their level, they're seeing how they can vibe with the human.
Mm-hmm. So, for example, anyone that wants to adopt, does it happen this way at times? So they walk into a shelter and then they see these puppies, right? And the ones that come to them and really, want to play with them, are those the ones that are picking it up? Are those the ones that are choosing you? And are you saying, Shirlyn, that they really already feel that when you walk in and you've only spent a minute with them, that they already get a whiff and they say, I think that person will need me. Is that really wow? Wow.
Yeah, it's like this recognition as well. I mean, they recognize something within the human. So, like, yeah, if a person walks into the shelter and you see certain animals start responding to that human, yeah, they're trying to get their attention because they're like, hey, I know I can support you. The other ones that don't come up, it's because they're they're thinking, oh, and the animals communicate with each other, so they're saying they understand each other, like, oh yeah, oh, you feel this human is closer for you, okay, go for it, we're just going to lay back and let your energy attract them.
So actually with me, Oliver, my golden retriever, he was a puppy in the streets of China, and among there were about seven of them, and his siblings. Now the thing with Oliver is, and he was very young. The thing with Oliver is that he didn't come up to me. Actually, he was the one that was shy. All the others are coming and trying to play at my feet and whatever. But Oliver wasn't. He was shy, he was reserved, and he'd be more in the back. Now, because he was like that, I decided to choose him. I felt kind of sorry for him, Um, is does it happen the other way around also where yeah.
Yeah, it does. It happens this way as well. Again, it's about your energy. So, like, they were like the other animals were really excited, but you were looking for probably like a more calm or a peaceful animal. And that's what he was showing you. Animals will evaluate exactly what it is that the human needs, and they'll communicate with each other so that they know, like, okay, well, we'll let you stand out because that's probably what this human needs. So yeah.
Well, the funny thing is, the minute I brought Ollie home, he drove us all crazy. He had this burst of energy, and I would take him for a walk, and at that time I didn't know, I'm the alpha. So he would, he full of life and full of joy. He still is. He still is Ollie. But yeah, no, I like what you said, where it's two ways, because I thought I was saving him because he was quiet, and I thought he would be bullied by his siblings and no one would choose him. But the minute he came home, it was completely the other way around. My life
Yeah.
turned, yeah, he added a whole different dimension in our lives, because by then I already had three, and he added again a different facet of love.
Yeah,
Because
and he
it's not.
probably felt that you wanted to save, you want to save an animal, so he could have put out that energy like, I need saving, please notice me.
Yes, yes. So here's where you say, how do they connect with us to influence us to choose them, apart from running up to us? And are there more ways? How? Is there another
Yeah,
way?
actually telepathically, right? They're because they easily communicate through telepathy. They're sending images, they're sending energy, they're sending emotions.
Mhm,
So they're doing a lot of different things.
mhm,
And they always do that. So in this case, like with you, with your dog,
mhm,
he's laying back and he was probably, like I said, sending this energy of, well, I need to be safe. I want to be taken care of. I want to be safe because that's what you thought. So you think on some level, you thought, oh, I had this idea. But another perspective is that he sent that message to you and you telepathically picked it up because we also are very telepathic. We just don't actively use it.
Yeah, yeah. I was blown away when you were explaining that yesterday because again, we all say, "Oh, I was just thinking of you," and now you're calling me. That's okay. That happens, a, a, to a lot of us. But I didn't realize that if we could apply it, because we don't know, but if we could apply it, we can actually communicate without needing to speak, and how the dogs do it naturally,
Yes, yes,
that they have that
exactly.
ability to do it naturally. And cats, let I just want to, not taking it on a tangent, but I know all of you out there, many of you out there have cats. Cats
Mm.
are a whole different ball game, maybe, or not really, because I heard that, well, I read also that spiritually, there's something about them that is that so? Are cats more powerful spiritually?
Well, I mean, that's an interesting question because I working with so many different animals, I found some cats who are kind of like young souls, young life forces, and they're very like they're all about themselves, and I found some dogs who are very insightful. So I just think it depends upon, like their personality, like we all like humans, we all have different personalities, we have different characters, we have different experiences. So do the animals. So I actually have to say I don't find one animal having more or higher consciousness than another. It depends on the animal.
It
Is
depends on the animal. Correct.
Yeah, really. Yeah. And
So,
they're all, I mean, I've had dogs like tell me information about like, why what they're like specifically what this human needs to do in order to like release their grief.
mhm.
And they have advice. I'm like, wow, this is very in-depth advice.
Yeah,
Whereas like with the younger, like a cat that doesn't have
yeah,
as much, they're just like, hey, I'm just here to have fun and that's my job and that's it. And nothing more insightful. So I find it even I've even spoken with a horse before,
mhm.
and even horses, right? They're sometimes people think that horses have more insight. And again, it
It
depends on the,
depends.
yeah, it
You're
depends on
right.
the,
You're
yeah.
right. You're right. I guess, I think you're right because that's why we don't, cats cannot help with disabilities the way dogs can. And with
Right.
disability, yeah, and with loneliness for sure, cats help a lot. And yes, so I don't know a lot about cats, or actually, I must say I don't know. I know very little about cats because I've only had dogs, but my daughter and my sister are absolute cat fans, and they love their cats, and they feel so nourished and nurtured by their beautiful, little buddies, their little kids.
Mhm.
Do you think these pets, animals, have their own personal journey?
Yeah, I think they do
Hmm.
because like I said, they look at their life as okay, I'm here to support.
Hmm.
So why while they're here supporting us, they're also learning, they're understanding their own how their emotions might get in the way. Like I had one dog, he wanted to save his owner, and how he was doing it was when the owner had a lot of like, let's say, anxiety, then the dog felt like, I need to take on that anxiety. Let me take it from them. And then the dog became anxious. And then he started
Oh.
to have like physical challenges. And
Oh,
I had to teach him, I had to say, no, you're not supposed to be anxious. Take the anxiety away from the human. You're to support them in how they can handle it, like sending them love, not become more anxious. So once the animal understood that, they're like, oh, so I don't need to suffer. No, no,
yeah.
no, you don't need to suffer. Just be yourself, let it go. And then the dog started healing, right? It
Mm-hmm.
started like because it was losing hair. So then the hair started growing back. And
Mm-hmm.
then the trembling started, I mean, was becoming less and less.
Okay.
So that's what I mean. They are on their own journey as to understanding how they are to help and that they're not supposed to sacrifice themselves, how they are to release their own like discordant energies because they have fear, they get angry. I mean, they express it as well. So they're learning how to handle their emotions.
Right. So here's the other thing. Do they feel guilty when not on, so for example, they're not taking anxiety upon themselves, but do they feel guilty when they cannot succeed in helping their parents? So let's say, yeah, I mean, when 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 there is, let's say, a parent that's crying because he or she is suffering a lot of grief, then you have this dog that comes on his or her lap without even falling. The dog will lie down and see. We see countless videos where the dog just lies down, and but the parent keeps on grieving and grieving. And does the dog after a while feel guilty and says, this was my purpose, but I'm failing here at doing this?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes,
they
I've
feel.
had that. Yes, this is what the animal will communicate. Like, what more can I do? I feel so bad. I'm not doing enough. And asking like, what more can I do? Because yeah, they do. I mean, like us in a way. If I have a friend who is like going through a really hard time, and I say things, and it's not and they're still kind of stuck, then I'm going to feel like, oh, I don't know what to do. So the animal they get to the point of, yes, they feel guilty and they're a little bit at a loss. They don't know what to do. And
Mhm.
so this is also part of their learning. This is their journey to understand how to support humans in many different scenarios because they don't know everything. This is why I said they're also on their journey to
Right.
understand.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So there's another thing. So there's one. So the question just now was, do they feel that they have let down their human, their mom, dad?
Yeah,
Now,
sometimes.
yeah. Now here comes the other side, where a parent with all good intentions, um, brings home a doggy or has a doggy, and suddenly, due to circumstances in life, yeah, one could be work related. The parent has to um, go now and spend more time, I guess, busy with work and not spend as much time with their dog as they normally would, and let's say wants to sleep in a bit more on Sunday or whatever, exhausted from work all week, and or yes, things like that. Um, or here's one. Here's me. Here's me, for example. Um, I go on holiday, yeah. Um, and the question is, I decide, okay, now how long can I be away from my doggies? Obviously, we have, I'm fortunate enough to have a great person taking care of my dogs, but I have to tell you that I do feel extremely guilty. But then there's certain holidays that I really want to go to, and I see now, how do and the guilt is overwhelming. I have to tell you, Shirley, and then I have to convince myself that, look, you need to also experience seeing this country, for example, that you want to visit. So going on holiday, am I or not, yeah, am I letting my dog down? Because I'm sure there are many among you that feel the same way unintentionally, but maybe due to work for stress or holidays, or you have to leave the dog because you have a parent in another country. That happened to me last year, where I had to take care of my mom, and that was like a gazillion miles away from Hong
Right.
Kong. And so every time there is guilt. So tell
Yeah.
me.
Yeah. So animals actually know what your plans are because we're always thinking about our plans, right? So in our mind, we're thinking, "Oh, I have to plan this trip. I have to leave, and I'm going to leave for 3 months." They hear you, so they understand it. Because I've had where animals will start acting differently when the person is planning and is about, they're beginning to like get everything together and pack, and the animal will just freak out a little bit, and they're acting out because we're not hearing that they are feeling sad about this, and that they feel like, are you not going to miss me? Are
Oh,
you you're
oh,
so focused on your trip? What about me? So to solve this,
yeah.
what I tell every human, talk to the animal, like telepathically, just say, hey, I'm even when you're planning the trip, right? Okay, I'm planning this trip, and this is why I need to go. I'm going to miss you, but this is what we're going to do. I'm going to set everything up so you're safe here. But one thing that we don't do is every day connect to them and talk to them while we're gone. So every person that I work with who's traveling and they're leaving their animals home, I tell them every day, tune in, just think of them and say, hi, I love you, I miss you, and this is what we did. 5 minutes. That's all you need to do is connect with them, because for them, what's so important is the connection. And so when we go on holiday and we're looking at these magnificent, buildings and history, that's what we're focused on. And we're not really thinking about the animal, not when we're looking at beautiful art, we're not doing that. And that's okay. We should focus on that. But if you can just spend 5 minutes in your day just to connect with them and say, I love you, I miss you, I hope you're having a great time. This is what we're doing. And, and I'm going to talk to you tomorrow. Don't worry. If we make that connection, it really calms them down. It makes them see that the connection isn't broken. And then the human won't have to feel guilty because you're talking to them every day. With my sister, for instance, when she was traveling, her Zoe would just go crazy. Like my mom said, because my mom would take care of Zoe when my sister traveled. And Zoe wouldn't go to sleep. She was always running around. And just generally just had anxiety. So I told my sister, I said, Tracy, just talk to her for 5 minutes. And she was like, oh, really? This sounds too weird. I said, please, just try it on this next trip and let's see what happens.
Mhm.
And my mom reported, I told my mom what I told Tracy to do. My mom reported back. She's like, she wasn't as anxious.
Mhm.
She slept through the night. She ate her food. She was actually really good. And I said, see, this is why I suggest that you do this. And so every trip after that, that's what my sister did.
This is for me, this what you're saying to me, is the biggest gift you can give me because um I have this constantly. I live alone with my dogs, and my children are all grown up and they're away. So I do travel to visit my mom. I do travel to visit the kids. The dogs are at an age where travel is not advisable for them. Um, and so I always, I mean, I should be very happy packing and saying, yeah, I'm gonna go see the kids and I'm gonna go see my mom, but there's that guilt, and I never knew. I I call them on the phone, so then I say I'll call on the phone, I'll do the video chat, and the housekeeper, she's holding the phone like this, and I'm calling them, and I can see them run around and saying like Ollie, Nico, Andre, and they just, their tails are wagging. They hear me. Their tails are on, and they start barking, barking. Obviously, they're not looking at the screen. Well, at least my dogs don't look at the screen, and and I feel that is the best I can do.
Yeah.
But for me, that still didn't feel enough. But because not always do I have connectivity and can I be on the phone with them, I do it as much as I can. But the fact that you say, Nita, close your eyes and connect with them, even if it's 5 minutes, there is a telepathic highway between you and your pet.
Yes.
That to me is huge. Um, there's there's another thing where it's huge for me too, Sherlyn, is when I asked you yesterday, I asked you after they have moved on,
Mm.
um, can you now talk to them and this and that? And you said to me, Nita, you can do that from your heart already, and they kind of hear you from your heart, even though they've gone, the Rainbow Bridge.
Mhm.
Um, I will speak only for myself, but I'm sure others may have experienced this, where my dog Gina passed away when I wasn't there,
Mm.
and I wasn't there. I was visiting my mother, who's quite aged, and I went to visit her for Mother's Day. And Gina was here in Hong Kong, and we tried the best, that we could to make sure that she would be okay, to save her. But she passed away in a span of 2 days. It was an emergency operation, and like I said, the vet was excellent, everything, but her life could not be saved. They and there was this tremendous guilt, Sherlyn, tremendous, where I said, "OMG, had I known that I was not going to see her, I would have said goodbye in a different way to her. Had
Right.
I known that Christmas I didn't spend with the dogs that Christmas, had I known that was going to be my last Christmas with Gina, I would have stayed in Hong Kong. So now what's happened is I have phobia. I'm not leaving my dogs for Christmas, New Year again. I mean, I was just with them. I can't, because I'm thinking the three older ones, they're 12 years old. It I don't know what could happen with them at this age. Gina was already 11, and I said, no, no, no. I said to the kids, no, I'm not spending any Christmas, New Year with you guys. You come to Hong Kong, because I don't know if it's my last Christmas. And yes, people can say what they want, but for me, my pets are my kids. And
Right.
I've been living with this guilt. And then I say, oh, Gina, if I knew that you were going to go, I'm so sorry that I should have played more with you, or you were the only girl. All the rest were boys. I maybe should have done different girly stuff with you. Things that I should have, I could have, and I didn't.
Yes.
But
Yes.
when you said to me yesterday, no, Nita, you can communicate with them even after they've passed, because wherever they are, and this thing about forgiveness is also a huge thing, where I'm hoping that they have, due to their unconditional love, and I got a pet loss grief counselor, and for that, and she had nuggets of wisdom, and her name is Kate McGann, and you'll see that interview. I interviewed her. I mean, nuggets of wisdom, and that soothed me. But what you say also is you can still do that. You can still, after, this interview, Nita, you can close your eyes, make space, clear yourself, just for 3 minutes, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, communicate, and it's all good. Is right?
Y- Yeah, you can. There's a period of time when they're still aware and they're still connected. Like for instance, I had a client. Her cat had been sick for a while, and that was my client. And I talked to the cat. Probably this was over a month that I was communicating with her and her cat. And one morning, this must have been like at 5 a.m. I suddenly wake up and I see her cat. Her cat is coming to me in this glow of light. And I knew she had passed. And she said, please let her know that I love her. And she did everything she could. And I respect her for it. And I will see her one day again. She just
Wow.
wanted her to know that she was loved. So I'm like at 5 a.m. going, okay. And I see her walk off as she turns and she walks off into the light. An hour later, because it was 5 a.m., so I wasn't thinking about calling my client. But an hour later, the client calls me and she's crying. She says she's gone. I said, I know. And she came to me and this is what she said. And she said, oh my God. And then for her, that the guilt lifted because of what her cat said. And she said, really? She said, I did enough. I said, she said, you did enough and she loves you and she respected everything you did. And not to worry, she will see you again. And
Right.
she said, okay, yeah. So there is this space. And I told her that she can connect. I said, just go into meditation, connect,
Yes.
and because she'll be available for a while. So
Yes.
you can connect with her and talk with her and then, even release more. So yeah, because then
Please.
after they're gone, and because they're going on to their next assignment.
Wow. That's enough. Their next assignment. Um, Sherlyn, what today I think was absolutely, I know we're reaching the end of our special hour today. I can't wait to continue tomorrow because there's so much more. But I want to say to all you viewers, thank you for tuning in today. And I cannot wait to, after this today's session with you, to go and hug my doggies and like you said, tune into Gina. I can't wait to do that. And all of you, you all can do the same. Look at your dogs now, your cats, and see them in a different way because yes, like Sherlyn says, you can communicate. You can. You don't. You don't have to necessarily in a lot of words or a lot of patting and hugging and playing, just even telepathically. Sherlyn, thank you. Thank you, and I cannot wait till tomorrow. There is still another load of questions that we have. We have not finished the topic of why are animals in our lives, but we are processing everything you said today. Thank you so much.
Well, you're welcome. And thank you again for giving me this opportunity to share with people because we're creating a more awakened planet, as you said.
We are. We are. You have a wonderful rest of the evening, and I can't wait. Bye bye.
Bye.